SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
I'll pre-record on my count. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Roll A, fade up on A.
Southern Miss to the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
All right, let's go. SuperTalk Eagle Hour is back on the air from the Southern Bancorp studio here in Hattiesburg. Bob and Kelly. Dima out covering a press conference for us this afternoon. He'll be back on the show tomorrow. Opening segment sponsored by Dickey's Barbecue Pit as we broadcast from the Southern Bancorp studio here in cloudy Oak Grove, Mississippi. Later in the show, Missy Bilderback. She is in Louisiana right now getting ready to put her Lady Eagles on the floor tonight against the Raging Cajuns, and we'll be talking to Coach Bilderback a little later in the show. But first, we're going to turn our attention back to baseball with another dramatic 3-1 win last night. Golden Eagles on the road for the first time beat Southeastern Louisiana in a true pitcher's duel, scoring, midway through the game with a home run, but then two crucial runs in the top of the ninth to cap the game up. Travis Creel joins us every Wednesday, and Coach Creel, we're going to get to some of the kids offensively, but first, I guess this game last night, the headline is the extraordinary effort by your pitching staff last night. 8 pitchers in the game, 12 strikeouts, 1 walk, 4 hits, and 3 of those pitchers were freshmen, 1 redshirt freshman, 2 true freshmen. You guys have to be thrilled with the performance of kids last night that we haven't seen much of.
Yeah, no doubt. I think there's another stat in there. I think we only threw like 117 pitches in the game, which is awesome. So, yeah, going into it, especially, in the midweek after a weekend where we didn't get some guys in, that was definitely the goal, was to get those freshmen on the mound. And, we know what they're capable of. So, to see it and, that was his second outing, but Sammy Mitchell, T. Broadhead, man, they were awesome. So good to get a win down there for sure. Dylan
Caulsey walks on the field, Coach, like he's a senior, and he's a freshman. He seems to have ice in his veins.
Yeah, it's a true presence. He's very talented, and, he played varsity baseball since like 8th grade, and then, ever since he's been on campus, he just, not in a cocky way, but just very, very confident kid. And Sammy's the same way. Sammy is an extreme competitor, and, he's going to throw a bunch of meaningful innings for us.
Yeah, that was my next question. Do you expect to see more field time from kids like Broadhead and Mitchell?
Oh, 100%. 100%. The first weekend, you don't want to ask those guys to do too much. Even though, they're talented enough to do so, you want to kind of ease it in because mentally, it's different. They need to just kind of ease their way in. Oz does a great job of getting those freshmen in a little bit at a time early, and those roles will continue to increase as the season goes on.
And you talked about getting the young guys in the game. Now, I know when 15 through 18-year-olds, Coach Creel, when they're doing this travel ball stuff, it'll be okay. Johnny, you're going to pitch innings 1 and 2, and Freddie, you're going to pitch inning 3, and Jason, you're going to pitch. Is that the way you kind of approach it? I wouldn't imagine so, that you kind of let the game come to you. But how do you determine who's going to go next, who's next up, who loosens up next, so on?
Yeah, there's times where it's a bit scripted, especially in the midweek, right? Because you're a little thinner in the midweek after a long weekend. More so than scripted, it's just we kind of knew the 7-8 arms that we wanted to get out there, and then kind of played the matchups as the game went on. Sonny gave us 3; he was fantastic, and then I just kind of who was up in the order and kind of went from there on who to bring in.
Now, on the offensive side, before we get to the offensive side, I just want to make a comment about very early in the season, obviously, this is not necessarily a question as it is a comment, and you guys can fill in the blanks, but I really like the way what I've seen of the team so far of in crucial situations where they could have panicked, could have said, uh-oh, but they didn't. And they did what it took to win at the most appropriate times to do it. That, to me, tells me something about the guts of this team.
Yeah, there's no panic. It's a very calm demeanor, even though, yesterday obviously was the best game offensively. There was no panic. There was no freaking out in the dugout. I go back to Santa Barbara on Saturday where we're 0-1. We're down 4 with a projected first or second rounder on the mound. And there was tons of confidence in the dugout. There was no panic, and we just kept chipping away, and found a way to win. And, that's kind of what we've done for the past couple of years. So, yeah, even last night, it wasn't pretty, but we pitched really well. We played really good defense, and good teams found a way to win in different ways.
And on Sunday, Ty drops that infield fly, right? Could have shut the door. Then the guy rattles one, almost takes it out of the ballpark. That would have been another chance for the Eagles kind of but did what they needed to do.
I just saw a little bit of that hit because I was still picking my heart up from the floor from the previous game. And everybody around me was looking for theirs as well, but it all worked out good. All right, Coach, offensively the team did struggle a bit last night. What were the Southeastern pitchers doing that made it so hard on you?
Yeah, the starters got really good stuff. It was 92-95 with pretty good sync, and me and their head coach are pretty good buddies. And he's like Oz. He's the pitching coach for their team. And he told me basically, when the kid throws strikes, he's really tough. And bad news for us, he threw a lot of strikes last night. So once we got him out of the game, because we did pitch kind of pretty good after the third, that was probably the most disappointing part. Was just the 4th through the 7th. They're just trying to play matchups, throwing, righty sinker guys against our righties and bringing in lefties against our lefties, and we didn't handle it well. And then anytime we did get something going, we got picked off twice, which is just never happens and absolutely unacceptable. So, it was tough, but like I said earlier, there was just no panic. There was great leadership in the dugout, and I never wavered that we were going to win that game, and I don't think our players did either. I'll
tell you what, though, you guys, that guy's the starter pitcher for SLU. That pickoff move was something I haven't seen in a long time. That was a terrific move.
Coach, here's the truth about Southeastern, though. They have a really good coach, and they're never an easy out, are they?
No. Well, first off, it's a tough place to play. The fans are really good there. They're always very talented. 90% of their roster, we recruited and maybe past. There's a little bit of a grudge there. But like you said, they're really well coached. They can always really pitch the baseball. They're always really athletic, and it's always a challenge. You look at last year, we're down 2 with nobody on in the ninth with
right.
2 outs.
Right.
And, before the Monastery homer, and even at home we had to walk them off too. So it's a great program, and I'd take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day.
No question. Before we move on in the next segment to what's up next week, I said this to you off air. Kelly and I, one of our favorite players for 2 years now on the team has been Seth Smith. We just think the kid is just smooth and fluid. He doesn't play all weekend. You bring him in last night in the 9th inning with the game really on the line, and man, he comes through. He delivers a clutch single, scores the go-ahead run. I know you got to be proud of Seth Smith.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's played really well. We're very, very confident in him. He just happened to beat out in the preseason practice early, but that happens. You look at last year, Joey Urban didn't start a game until maybe the 4th or 5th game of the season. It's pretty typical. And we were probably going to start Seth yesterday if they weren't starting a left-handed pitcher. So. But yeah, for him to stay ready and be ready when his number's called is awesome. But I will say it didn't surprise me because he's been working his tail off and he's been looking great.
Coach, we might start on this and then carry it over after the commercial break. But what are we to make of Higdon and Morrison's slow starts, particularly Morrison 0 for 12, 8 Ks? Is that troubling? What do we do?
Yeah, he's not seeing the changeup or the left-handed slider very well. So went to work today with him. It's in there. He just got to kind of get over the mental side of it because he knows what he's doing physically wrong, and it's corrected. Now he's just got to go trust in the game. And, for Higdon, he's had some really bad luck. I hate to just put it out there. There's only been 4 games, but I bet he's lined out 5 or 6 times, hit another ball over 100 miles per hour last night. He just needs to see some fall, I think.
Yeah.
once he sees one fall, they'll start falling more often. But I like where his swing's at. I just wish he could kind of hit it away from some defenders every now and then.
I think lots of times people get confused as to what a good at bat is. People just look in the scorebook. Well, I got a single, yeah, but it was a lazy single, and that. If you hit it hard somewhere, but somebody just happens to get in the way of it, that's still a good at bat.
And he's hitting some hard line drives.
Yeah.
They're just
no
getting
doubt.
caught. Yeah.
We stressed our guys not to be result oriented, be process oriented. If you're taking good swings and you're hitting the ball hard, it'll eventually start falling. Just keep going.
We're talking to Travis Creel, baseball coach, Southern Miss, of course. And when we come back, Golden Eagles knock off Southeastern Louisiana last night. Head out tomorrow for what will be a really exciting weekend against some big-name schools.
Yeah, but I think all those teams stink, don't they, Bob? They're no good.
We're going to gut them like a fish, Kelly, but I'm trying to be nice about it.
That's what I'm talking about.
I won't ask you to comment on that, Coach.
Yeah, I'm good.
More for Travis Creel next.
Big news from Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel. We've moved. You'll now find us directly behind our old building, right by Sawmill Animal Hospital. We're still your trusted electrical distributor, carrying everything from conduit to tape. And don't forget our full line of Milwaukee tools. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, stop by the new Robinson Electric Supply at 1222 West 6th Street and see what's lighting up Laurel. Robinson Electric Supply. New location, same trusted service.
Southern Miss to the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
Eagle Tire West sponsors the second segment of the SuperTalk Eagle Hour. That's where you'll find Matt Warren and his great staff. They sell premium Goodyear products, full auto and truck service. It's all at Eagle Tire West next to Smith Motor Company, Highway 98 West, Hattiesburg. Family operated since 1985. Eagle Tire and Eagle Tire West. Goodyear tires, full service, big Southern Miss supporters. And Coach Creel, I'm sure you would agree that Matt Warren is a great part of Southern Miss baseball history and a good guy to do business with.
No, ain't no doubt. He's a stud. Yes, sir.
No question. All right, so 3-1, 3 exciting baseball games, and now you guys head out for what is going to be a really a high-profile event out in near Austin, Texas. You're going to take on Purdue, followed by Oregon State, and then Baylor. Kind of fill us in, Coach, on this field, first of all.
Yeah, obviously open up Purdue on Friday. Don't know a ton about them just yet. They're 2-1. I know that. Coach Oz and their head coach worked together several times. Greg Goff, Delta State and Louisiana Tech. So we know they'll be ready to get down in the South and get in some heat and play baseball in good weather. Oregon State, obviously on Saturday, perennial Omaha team, going to be a great challenge. And then Sunday is Baylor, where this is year 3 of their new coaching staff, and they look like they've done a good job recruiting. They're 4-0. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. I've been fortunate to to coach in one of these tournaments before, and it was a great time for the players and the fans. So we're looking forward to it.
Purdue won 2 out of 3. For our listeners, over Portland. Baylor beat Texas State last night and had beaten New Mexico State 3 games, and Oregon State 1-1 against Michigan, beat Stanford, and I'm not sure who the other one was.
Oregon State is a lot like they mirror Southern Miss in so many ways, in that athletically as well, because the football team has struggled at Oregon State. The basketball team has struggled. Oregon State has been hanging its hat on baseball for the last 4 or 5 years, like at Southern Miss.
All right, Coach Creel, do you look to have any lineup changes, significant lineup changes offensively going into this tournament?
From a personnel standpoint, I could definitely see. I know we're going to try to get Seth in there at some point, depending on the matchups. He's versatile, so he can play any position on the infield. And yeah, typically this is the time of year where we kind of start tinkering around with the order as well. So, one thing Oz wants to do is really try to split the lefties up a little bit more, so they can't bring in a lefty to face, 2 lefties and 3 hitters type thing. So I think you definitely see some changes.
Well, what are you happy about right now offensively, Coach, and what do you want to see improve?
I mean, I'm very pleased because we're 3-1 against a really tough schedule. Against Santa Barbara, facing possible first pick on Friday, possible first rounder on Saturday, and a really good arm on Sunday. I thought we competed really well. Found ways to win Saturday, Sunday, coming back in both games, and then yesterday it wasn't beautiful. But again, just old, mature, stayed calm, stayed in the middle of the ring, stayed in the fight, and found a way to win.
But that's the way. You can't ever underestimate great pitching. I mean, a good team can be totally shut down if a pitcher has a good night, and you got to credit the Lion pitcher last night. I mean,
they pitched well.
He was dealing, up there to the end. But I really like the fact, that they didn't panic, and Southern Miss did. That's, as we mentioned, 3 out of the 4 games, they could have very easily folded their team, but they didn't, and they clawed back and did what they needed to do to win. And I think that's a great sign, going forward.
And Coach, I know that you handle primarily the offensive side of the team, but would you expect the same starting rotation as we head into these 3 games as we saw this past weekend?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Travis, so much has been made, and we've had fun with the whole Fire Creel thing on social media and so on, but we just thought maybe we should turn it around. And when you join us on Wednesdays,
he's not going to do this. He's not going to.
On Wednesdays,
he's not going to do this.
When you come on the show, we thought we would, if you want to, fire a fan. If there's any, any fans that have put a bee under your bonnet, or you just want to vent about something. Are there any fans that you would like to fire, Travis Creel?
No, I think I'm good. I don't really listen to the noise.
I know you don't. Just thought we'd have some.
Trying to be fired after the last 4 or 5 years, I don't know what else I can do. So,
yeah.
I ignore that stuff.
Well, we don't think Travis Creel's going anywhere.
No.
And we don't want Travis Creel.
No, we're just having a little fun.
Yeah, no question about that. All right, so what's the mindset of the guys? That had to be a good ride home last night. They must be feeling really confident right now.
Yeah, I think it's confident building whenever you can find ways to win in different ways. You go, Saturday was a little high scoring comeback win. Sunday was a dogfight, and then yesterday, low scoring. We found a way to win. So that's kind of the key, especially early on in the year when not everybody's just rolling full speed, whether it's on the mound or offensively. You just find ways to win. That's what good teams do. So, I think we're in a good place, and again, excited for the weekend.
Right. Well, final question for me. Of course, injuries are always crucial to any team. Nobody nicked up after 4 games. Everybody good and healthy?
No, yeah, I think we're good to go. I think we're good.
And that's a great place to be, and that's the biggest piece of the puzzle that lots of times you have no control over.
Right.
So.
Well, Coach, we sure appreciate your input every Wednesday. We'll be watching every pitch this weekend. Safe travels to you and the guys, and we look forward to another exciting weekend of Golden Eagle baseball. It's just so good to have you guys back.
All right, appreciate it, guys.
Travis Creel, everybody. He's not going to do the fire the fan of the week.
But you know what? I'll bet deep down inside every once in a while there might be.
Can you blame him?
No.
Can you blame him?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'd say, look, if you're going to dish it out, you got to be able to take it.
Let me tell you one thing I've learned and covered a baseball team. You start asking kids on that baseball team about Travis Creel, they love Travis Creel.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's their coach. And
the whole tongue-in-cheek thing that we just did is more of a dig at our fans.
Correct. Than Travis Creel.
Yeah, and lots of times, also to be fair, we know that 95% of our fan base.
They're good fans.
Yeah, it's just kind of playing around with all that sort of stuff.
Kelly, I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I realize they've only played 4 games, and look, we could take a beating this weekend. Who knows in college baseball? But from what you see early, and you see the depth and the talent, and it really showed up last night on the pitching mound of kids that you really haven't really heard much out of. But they just step into these are babies. They were playing high school baseball a year ago. They just step onto the field and they don't do anything but throw strikes and strike people out. What is the ceiling for this team?
I think the fact that when Travis was talking about, well, it depends if they start a righty or a lefty. If they start a lefty, we go this way. If they start a righty, they go that way. That shows you about the depth and the versatility that a lot of those guys have. These talented freshmen, Oz is going to have to get them enough time in the lineup to where they want to compete. They want to be able to show what they can do. But they have been doing that when they've been getting their opportunities. Pardon me. They have been coming through. And that's the thing that's really scary, is because if they're all doing what they're capable of doing, I don't think there is a limit. I do think it's really nice, though, that Cross Sibley, as the old guy on the team, is reading bedtime stories to these freshmen.
Well, he pitched, of course, you expected him to pitch well when he came in. That wasn't any surprise. But, yeah, he looks like an old man compared to some of these baby-faced kids on the team.
I don't know. Several people have, and these are Southern Miss fans, will go, when does Cross Sibley graduate? How long has he been? I said, but you got to remember, he's been here since he was a freshman.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which is so unique in today's world.
I was just going to say that. In baseball, it seems to be the only sport where you have, at least at Southern Miss, you seem to have the only chance of keeping the players that were on the roster the year before or even 2 years ago. Well, I got my Iowa State University alumni newsletter yesterday, and they were proud to welcome new quarterback Jalen Rayner from Arkansas State.
Are you kidding me?
No. So there you go. Wow. A Sun Belt player going to the Big 12, going to quarterback for the Cyclones. But that baseball roster, there's not a whole lot of differences other than the additions of the incoming freshmen each year.
You made an interesting comment yesterday about the toughness of Jones County kids, and it was on display again last night, wasn't it?
I'm telling you, and look, my kids are Lamar County kids. And I know I'm painting with a broad brush. I'm not necessarily saying anything bad about Lamar County kids. I'm just saying every Jones County guy I've ever competed against, they're just different, and in a good way. Yeah. I mean, they are just tough and rugged and fearless. Yeah. And I think that's what you have to be if you're going to pitch at this level.
You don't really want to compete against them, and you damn sure don't want to fight with them, do you?
No, like most of them would just as soon fight as eat a hamburger. So I would not want to.
They're awesome.
Get in a fight. I'm glad they're on our side.
These Jones County kids are truly awesome.
I'm glad they're on our team for sure.
There's no question about that. Lady Eagle basketball, they're in Lafayette right now, probably eating seafood. That's what I'd be doing. They're getting ready to take on Louisiana tonight. Coach Missy Bilderback's about to join us from Louisiana. Stay with us.
Southern Miss to the top.
All right, DBAT sponsors the third segment of the SuperTalk Eagle Hour on Hardy Street. Great place for baseball, softball training, adult athletic training. They've got trainers. They've got facilities, Kelly. They've got camps. They've got everything you need.
And if you go regularly, really it's cost effective to buy a membership. If you know you're going to be there, that's the way to go, is purchase either individual or family memberships.
Right. Also want to say hello to our dear friends out at MCS Home Center. We love that place. Home repair, home remodeling, home construction. Everything you need for your next project, home, lawn, or garden, it's always available at MCS Home Center in Bellevue. MCS is Hattiesburg's new improvement home center. Local folks eager to help you. Beautiful store, by the way. 7329 Highway 98 West. And don't forget about the SuperTalk Eagle Hour podcast, and that's where thousands of you find us every month. We're very, very grateful for those huge numbers. Apple, Audible, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, or Alexa or Siri will play the Eagle Hour for you.
And you told, and you when you said thousands, I'm going, come on, boss. There's no. And you showed me the numbers. I'm going, holy cow, that's a lot of folks.
I just can't imagine when I look at them. Sometimes that many folks would want to listen to me and you. But
well, me for sure.
I'm grateful.
You know, it might be part of their prison work release program.
Perplexed but appreciative.
Yes, for sure.
Hey, we're very grateful to have Missy Bilderback join us. Her ladies are on the road. Missy is in Lafayette, Louisiana right now as they start the first of a 4-game road trip. As we come down the stretch here, the Lady Eagles 13-13 overall, 6-8 in the league. Coach, I'm going to start out. I know you're not going to complain about it, but I am. It's just not fair for you to finish the season with 4 games in a row on the road, not only for your team, but any basketball team.
Yeah, it's definitely Bob. It's a tough stretch right here, but it's scheduled, so we've got to find our way through it right here, and it's such an important 2 weeks to just finish the year strong and give ourselves a chance in the tournament to have, our seeding is really going to come down to these last few weeks here. So yeah, it's definitely tough, and the way the Sun Belt schedule, there's so many different thoughts about that in the tournament and different things, but those are things I think you've just got to turn your attention to what you can control, and right now we get to play basketball at 6:00 tonight and have a chance to compete and play and fight our way to a big win tonight. That's what we need to do. So that's where we've got to focus our attention right now.
Now, two of the women's teams have kind of separated themselves and are positioned for the 1 and 2. But regardless of what's happened up to this point, Coach Bilderback, the way that this thing shakes out for your ladies and a lot of other teams in the Sun Belt, it essentially comes down to about a 3-week season, doesn't it? As far as seeding goes in Pensacola. That's right. So much of it, like there's so many of us kind of in that, I think you've got maybe the top 5 right now that are kind of in a little bit of a bunch, and then you've got 6, 7, 8, and 9 that are pretty much in a bunch right here. And so, I think just the way the season, you're right, the next 2 weeks are going to tell us a lot about what the tournament's going to look like, and then certainly, with the tournament bracket set up the way it is, we've told our team this is postseason basketball right now, because what we do tonight is going to matter, and what we do Saturday is going to matter, and so forth. So just, we've got to look at this as really we're in the postseason, because these games truly carry a lot of weight and as far as what that's going to look like for us in Pensacola. So generally speaking, with what else is happening on the women's side of the ledger in the Sun Belt, you win 3 out of 4. I know they're on the road, but you win 3 out of 4. And you don't even need a lot of help. You guys could sneak into that 6th spot, which keeps you from playing a lot of basketball. Right. It certainly gives you those, you always have a chance as long as you're playing, of course. You've always got a chance, and, you can get hot, and you just believe that big things and good things are going to happen. But certainly, if we could squeeze our way into our first tournament game being on Friday, and having more of a 4 and 4 day outlook than a 6 and 6 day, certainly that's going to give you a better chance and a better opportunity. I do think the teams in the Sun Belt are all so close. You look and different teams. There's been so much parity and upsets and different things throughout the year, and so I think it's really anybody's tournament. When we all head down to Pensacola, there's certainly some teams that have separated themselves a little bit, but at the same time, maybe not quite as much in the past, where you've seen that Marshall team that was, went through the league undefeated, JMU a year ago, and there's been a lot more, mix-ups, I guess you would say, in the league this year. Everybody's pretty good, so, got to play every night for sure. And maybe just as tough as the opponents on the court, you guys have been dealing the bigger enemy, which has been injuries, and you guys have fought them all season long. Yeah, certainly. That's been unfortunate, especially, throughout the year. We've had quite a few little things not, to happen injury-wise to certainly key players, some sickness and different things, but I am proud of our players. They've continued to show up and approach and compete and fight each day, and so
we're excited about these next couple weeks and the stretch we have in front of us. We've just talked a lot about eyes forward and controlling what we can control and, just really trying to finish this year strong. I badly want that for our senior group and this team to, come out of this thing with the right mentality and the right, fight about us where we come out and we compete and we try to finish this year as strong as we can. And that's really what we're hunting right now for sure. Jacayla
Johnson, Berkayla Gray, and Melanie Timms are all playing really well. But one thing that you guys have been able to do is create a lot of turnovers. I know against, I think, Texas State, you created, 20-some turnovers? What's working right defensively, Coach, that's forcing other teams to cough it up?
Yeah, I think there's a big correlation between, our urgency and aggressiveness on the defensive end and us winning games, but also us being able to play well offensively as well. I think a lot of times, teams they defend harder when they're scoring the ball. I think we've got to have the opposite mindset. I think we've got to defend and play really hard and compete really hard, rebound the ball well, and I think that will ignite our offense a little more. And so, I think that's something we really challenged our kids last week to do, and particularly on Saturday, is just really be more aggressive and really do a great job of pressuring the basketball and being committed on the defensive end, and we would see that success follow and translate on the offensive end for us as well. But certainly that's true, Kelly, for sure.
Coach, you're headed down the stretch of your first season here at Southern Miss. How do you feel right now? I mean, evaluate the season to this point and what you've liked and maybe want to improve on, the remainder of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, it's been a tremendous blessing and just honor to be the head coach here at Southern Miss, this great university. I'm very thankful to have an opportunity to do that every day and work for great people and with great people. And so, that's been incredible. Obviously our expectations are high. You want to win, and you want to win at a high level, and you want to compete for championships. So, I think, having maybe a few more struggles than what we had hoped, it certainly makes us hungrier as we go out in recruiting and we look to retain players and do those things as far as just what we want to build program-wise. I will say, in that process in year one, you want to always have the right people with you, and I think that's one thing that we did get right, our group of young people, our culture, and the people that we have. I think they represented the university. They've been great for us as coaches to coach and deal with every day. They've been tremendous ambassadors of the university. And so I think when you're building a culture, we got that part right as far as getting the right kids and the right players here at Southern Miss. I think, moving forward, there's certainly some things we've got to address. I think our length, our overall size and some things, but when you're looking basketball-wise, but certainly grateful for the journey thus far and the people we've had to do it with. And like I said earlier, I just badly want to finish strong. I love our team and our players, and, I just want them to be able to battle through this little season of adversity that we've had and be able to finish this season on a high note. Just giving everything we have, being great teammates, playing as hard as we can down the stretch and just fighting to finish the season as strong as we can, guys. That's really what I'm hunting right now.
All right, Coach, we know it's Mardi Gras. Did you and the ladies go out and party Mardi Gras last night, or did you just get some rest at the hotel?
Yeah, definitely got some rest. So we got caught in a little Baton Rouge traffic, and finally got here last night. Got some shots over in the Cajun Dome, and then came back over, had dinner, and then stewed around again this morning. And now we're just waiting for tip right now.
Now wait a minute. Did she say they had some shots over at the Cajun Dome?
I don't think that's what she said.
Oh, she took some.
Kelly, don't do.
No, took some shots.
No,
okay,
and that was
shots, Kelly.
Okay.
That was a joke.
Shots, yeah.
Not for 2 seconds did I think you were out partying last night, Coach. So that was just a joke.
I know.
I was going to say,
Kelly got me on that.
Hey, if that happened, I'm making that trip next year.
Hey, we're really grateful that you would come on to game day. We appreciate you very much, Coach. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Hey, thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Missy Bilderback, everybody, down in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Are you sure she said no, she would never do that.
No, Kelly. That's the way you think. See, she was taking shots, basketball shots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
not Jello shots.
Okay,
Kelly.
I got
That's
you.
your idea.
I got
That's your idea of a free throw.
I'm good now. Yeah.
I do get that. All right, we'll be back. Kelly's got news and notes. We'll be right back.
Big news from Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel. We've moved. You'll now find us directly behind our old building, right by Sawmill Animal Hospital. We're still your trusted electrical distributor, carrying everything from conduit to tape. And don't forget our full line of Milwaukee tools. Whether you're a contractor or a DIY pro, stop by the new Robinson Electric Supply at 1222 West 6th Street and see what's lighting up Laurel. Robinson Electric Supply. New location, same trusted service.
You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour. The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
I want to thank Missy Bilderback, especially for doing an interview with us on the road. She's a breath of fresh air, Kelly. She's a delightful young woman, and I think if people will just give her time, she will really get this basketball program at another level.
She's a good balance of old school because, like her father, Perry Wheat, was a longtime football coach, and if he's not, he might be in the high school Hall of Fame, but if he's not, he should be. So she's learned that hard-nosed way of coaching and what it takes, but she's also a new age coach too that she can relate well with young people. And really, the general public, listeners probably wouldn't know this, but one of the cardinal sins years ago as a journalist is you don't ever ask a coach or a player on game day for an interview.
Right.
That just did not fly.
Right.
And if you ever made that mistake, the coaches
right.
would give you that look like, don't ever ask that again. But the fact that
she's willing to do it.
Yeah.
All right, our other basketball coach, Jay Ladner, will be joining the show tomorrow. The men play Saturday, and they're in town, obviously, but we'll have Coach Ladner on the show tomorrow. We look forward to that. Hey, before we move on to news and notes, I just want to say, I want to remind everybody how fortunate all of us that live in South Mississippi are to live around Forest Healthcare. They remind you that keeping up with your favorite team is fun, but you are an important player, and Forest Health encourages you to get an annual physical, exercise, eat right, stay close to your family physician, and make your health as good as it can be. Forest Health can help you with great expert medical care closer to home. ForestHealth.org and Kelly Center, I know you agree with me completely. We are very lucky to have such a sophisticated medical facility here.
And when you look at a lot of these news magazines that rate places to retire, Hattiesburg is always on the list.
That's a big reason.
That's the main reason. Yeah. As an old person, I think, is the health care that you have accessible, and it's readily accessible. You're not going to have to wait in traffic for 4 hours to get somewhere. No. Not bumper to bumper traffic. It's great.
And it is superb. I can speak to that personally. The care at the hospital is superb. All right, news and notes.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about women's golf right now, Bob. We've talked about since the facility opened at the Hattiesburg Country Club, how both women's and men's teams have just taken off. And, of course, the women are the defending Sun Belt champions. Well, they finished runner-up to ULM yesterday at the championship match at the Windance Country Club. That's down on the coast, actually one of my favorite places to play when I get to play down there. Liv Romer for Southern Miss, she went 3-0 on the week, while three other of the ladies went 2-1. And the Golden Eagles got another win from Taylor Tribble. Taylor Tribble really made a name for herself last year. But this was a 13-team tournament. Got to make sure my poly grip is working right there. But the fact that they finished second out of 13, pretty doggone good. The ladies will now travel to Aiken, South Carolina for a 3-day tournament at the More Than Golf Invitational, and it is presented by Bank of America. So when you're having the success like the golf teams are having, look where they're getting to play. They're getting to play in the Pacific Northwest. They're going to the southeastern part of the country, over in South Carolina. I mean, they're going internationally on recruiting and getting some great players in here. So the Southern Miss golf teams, although we just talked about the women's team, the men and women's teams, just exceptional and great ambassadors for the university. So congratulations to Coach Cowan and the women on that second place finish. It just so happens that ULM finished first. We'll get them next time when we play them, a little bit later on here in the season. Other than that, things are pretty quiet. We talked about the women's game tipping off tonight at 6 o'clock. That is an ESPN Plus game, and this is one that the Lady Eagles would like to get. I mean, really, they get 3 out of these last 4 and get maybe 1 or 2 other things to happen because they're so tightly bunched in the middle there. They might be able to get that 6th seed, which would cut down on the number of games it would take to get to the final. Yeah, just the seeding. So regardless, and really the same can be said for the men. Regardless of what has happened up to this point, you can really pretty much throw that stuff away. It's coming down to 2 weeks in the Sun Belt, and then if you happen to win the Sun Belt, which is against the odds, but it could happen, then of course whatever postseason play might be, but it would only be the NCAA tournament. Not likely that any other postseason tournament would invite either of the teams. Well,
we'll talk to Jay about this tomorrow, but they're doing the same thing right now. They're trying to scramble for positioning in the tournament.
And Old Dominion has really struggled, and we're going to be talking with Ted Alexander on Friday. He's the voice of the Monarchs, and he can tell us a little bit as to why Old Dominion has been struggling. With the remaining road games that Southern Miss has at South Al and at Arkansas State, you almost wish that this Old Dominion game would have been on the road because that's one that they might have been able to steal on the road. But nonetheless, it's at the Greenhouse on Saturday. Those last 2 road games at South Al and at Arkansas State are going to be tough ones. But again, you sneak away with one. Who would have thought that they would have beaten Troy? Right. Last week. So
great win.
I'm telling you, anything can happen down the stretch. And Tavares, when he went down, that was the question early: is how good is Southern Miss going to be? The fact that they were able to at least navigate their way, they didn't bleed to death, right? Let's put it that way. And now he's back in the lineup, and the prospects going forward much better. We'll see how it all shakes out. Looking forward to it.
All right, looking forward to talking to Jay tomorrow. Also, still to come this week, some great conversations with Josh Ott, Dre Barrett, and as you said, Ted Alexander from Old Dominion. Stay with us. We're going to keep pumping out that Southern Miss conversation for you. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, Southern Miss
to the top.
Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. I want to fly like an eagle to the sea.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.